What you need to know about coronavirus on Thursday, April 2nd. A version of this story appeared in the April 2 edition of CNN's Coronavirus Fact vs. Fiction newsletter. Sign up here to receive the need-to-know headlines every weekday. As global cases of the novel coronavirus near the staggering milestone of 1 million, spreading to almost every country and territory, the World Health Organization chief says he is deeply concerned about the near-exponential growth of the pandemic. In the U.S., the outbreak is widening, and much-needed medical equipment is running out. The federal government has nearly emptied its emergency stockpile of personal protective gear and halted shipments internationally. Governors are pleading for supplies for inundated hospitals as cases in the U.S. hit more than 215,000. Today, the death toll topped 5,000 nationwide, with over 1,300 in New York City. New York Governor Andrew M. Cuomo issued a warning. This is not just New York. As the state's toll mounts, he urged Americans to take the virus seriously, saying the country would be living with the consequences of the outbreak for a long time. "I don't think we get back to normal," Cuomo said. "I think we get to a new normal." And a sign of just how abnormal things have become. The nation's top coronavirus expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, who became a lightning rod for right-wing criticism after correcting President Donald Trump, has been forced to beef up his personal security amid increased death threats. "You asked. We answered Q. What's the best way to correct family members or friends who are sharing misinformation or crazy conspiracy theories? A. Calling out loved ones can be incredibly awkward, but it is everyone's responsibility to help correct bad information, and there are a few helpful approaches you can take. Before taking any action, it's important to remember that most people have no intention of sharing bad info. Emotionally evocative content can just make people less discerning. Using an affirmative empathetic tone can help get the correction across without making the person feel like they're being thrown under the bus. Citing authoritative sources, like health departments or local media, can make people more inclined to believe you. Talking one-on-one and pre-bunking, simply reminding others to think about the things they share, can have a big impact. What's important today? U.S. joblessness claims jump. Mass layoffs tied to the pandemic have sparked a surge in the number of Americans filing for their first week of unemployment benefits. 10 million in 2 weeks. Another 6.6 million people joined the ranks of jobless last week, twice the record set during the week ending March 21. Aircraft carrier cases. Nearly 3,000 U.S. sailors will be evacuated from an aircraft carrier and quarantined in hotels in Guam after a desperate plea for help. Nearly 100 on board are now infected. The situation in Europe. Yesterday, Spain recorded more than 100,000 cases, while the UK reported its highest number of deaths in one day, with 563 new fatalities. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, under fire for the slow pace of testing in the country, has vowed to do more. In Italy, a slowdown in the rate of coronavirus patients is a confirmation of a hope, officials say. Italy and Germany are among countries that are extending lockdown measures. Lockdowns give way to crackdowns. Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte has ordered law enforcement officers to shoot dead any unruly people breaking lockdown. In Kenya, a 13-year-old boy was allegedly shot and killed by police enforcing a nationwide curfew last week, Citizen TV reported. Elsewhere, restrictions have become increasingly unorthodox. In Panama, coronavirus lockdown means separating the sexes. And after advising wives to avoid nagging during quarantine, the Malaysian government has been forced to apologize. Domestic violence lockdown measures mean victims of domestic violence have found themselves trapped at home with abusive partners. Advocates are warning the restrictions could cause a spike in violence, with some unable or too afraid to call the police. France and Spain are telling victims to head to pharmacies to report. On our radar. Dozens of spring breakers who ignored public health advice and decided to party instead have tested positive. Live streaming classes. Virtual personal training. Here's how the $94 billion fitness industry is going virtual. Booze sales are booming as people stockpile alcohol, but it may not last. Expelliarmus boredom. J.K. Rowling launches Harry Potter at Home hub for kids in lockdown. The maker of Camel, Lucky Strike and Pall Mall cigarettes is trying its hand at a new product. A coronavirus vaccine. English Premier League soccer clubs facing heavy criticism for using a UK government job program, with one British lawmaker accusing them of living in a moral vacuum. Amid fears the outbreak could cause social unrest, Americans are buying more guns. Top tips: humans are terrible at being apart. This is the science behind why social distancing is so hard and what you can do in the absence of touch. Can't pay your rent this month? You're not alone. What you need to know: allergies, flu or coronavirus. Telling the difference is tricky, but these are some helpful clues. It's easy to curl up on the couch and binge Netflix, but regular exercise is key to boosting your immunity and mood. Here's how you can stay fit from home. Today's podcast: there is nothing sanitized. There's no way to distance yourself from anyone. The beds are like 3 feet apart. Angela Hernandez, homeless in a New York City shelter. How do you stay at home if you are homeless? CNN chief medical correspondent Rive Sanjay Gupta looks at how cities across the US are handling the homeless crisis during coronavirus and why everyone's health matters. Listen now. And tune in to listen to Gupta answer more of your questions. Click subscribe to receive the latest news.